Right. I figured it'd be easier to make this video than to try and talk you through anything on the phone for those of you that are going to use it. So it's Calendly. I call it Calendarly sometimes, but same thing. When you log into Calendly, you come here, and the first thing you're going to want to do, and the order doesn't really matter, but you create a new event type. And then for driver's ed, we always have to have more than one, so you'll want you and a group. And then you just name this whatever you want. I call it driving hours. Duration, it's custom, and I do 3-hour blocks when I drive. I don't know what you do, but you would just set that up with however long you want to drive. It's a in-person meeting, so location. I tell them to meet here at the high school in the front parking lot, and then I just hit update, and then that's there. Maximum invitees per event. I drive with 2 kids. If you click this box, it's important because if one person takes it and you don't have this checked, then it doesn't show up in your calendar. If you check this, then it will fill up. It will show even if one person is there. Then you can hit continue. And then yours will look different because you haven't set stuff up yet. But it's ready to go. I got my details. I'm going to go to host invitees, double check that. It looks good. Schedule settings. I personally would change this. I let kids register 7 days in advance, maybe 10 sometimes. It just depends on if I know that I have a long time. You can do within a date range, indefinitely. Available hours, we'll get that later. And this just is, it shows you, it'll look different because I've already set this up. Buffer time, if you wanted 10 minutes in between, you can schedule that. Minimum notice, I change that. I give them 18 hours, so I at least have the night before. And then I don't have to have, start time increments. I do this every 3 hours as well. And this one is tricky. I didn't know this existed. But if you don't set that, then it gets pretty weird. You can double check that. Yeah, no, that's right. Okay, then I hit save and close. And then I'm going to hit done. So now I would have this new event type. And from now on, I'm going to delete this one and come back to the one I already have. So I have these driving hours. To view the booking page, I click on this, and it shows the blue days are the ones that days are open to schedule. So if a kid wanted to drive Saturday, there's one spot at 7 and one spot at 10 left. So this is the side that the kids will look at, and you want to check this and make sure it looks good. This is the messages I have. Meet in the front parking lot. Make sure to bring your permit every time. We drive in 3-hour blocks. 4 times for 12. You can only choose one spot per day. So you can put that information in as you edit it. All right. Once you have this started, the next most important thing is down here on the left called availability. Availability is where you set up what days and what times you can drive. So I set it up so that every day I drive 7 to 4, except for Saturday I go 7 to 1. And I'm not really going to grind that. You can see over here I have days that I'm unavailable. But just the way that it works, it's easier to me if you schedule it just consistent, and then you save it. And this is in the list view. But once you have this set up, and by the way, if you need a break, like you're a football coach and need a break in the middle of the day, you just hit the plus sign, have your morning scheduled here, and then your secondary one here. All right, and you can copy that from other areas. But anyway, once you have this set up, your weekly schedule, you go to your calendar view, and that's where you can make things unavailable. So like tomorrow I needed the day off. Next week I'm going to trek, so I have those 4 days off. I have other family vacations. So I went through my whole summer, and I blocked out the days I knew I was unavailable. And I still might not drive like on the 23rd of July. I just don't know it yet. And if I want to, I'm like, oh wait, I can't drive that day. Well, like the 24th, I'm not going to drive that day. So I can just click here, I hit edit dates. I make sure the 24th is the dark blue, and then I hit this X. Now, if you wanted more than one day off, you can just select as many as you want, and then you just delete the hours that you're available. And now the 24th becomes unavailable. The kid cannot schedule that day. Okay, so once you have this all set up, and let's say on this Monday, you just wanted to drive 7 to 4, or 7 to noon, so you could just change this to whatever you wanted. Anyway, so that's pretty easy. One thing you got to make sure on your availability, when it says active on, you have to make sure that your availability is active on the driving hours event type. If it's not, they won't sync to each other, and you'll end up with weird driving times that you didn't plan on. So just make sure that your working hours, that your driving hours are active on that. Okay. Now, you have everything set up, and let's say you've sent things to kids. Well, let's talk about that right now. So now what I do to share with kids is I send them this text. Abe, this is your driver's ed teacher. Please use the link to sign up for driving times. And then it says, remember, we drive in 3-hour blocks. You need 4 total. You can choose up to 3 slots in 1 week, but not more than 1 per day. And then I added this message that if you're unavailable, let me know. So that way I know if they actually read it or not. And then I reminded them to be in the front. I'm the only teacher in the front, so that's why that's all caps. So the kids get this, and then that takes them to the page that looks like this. And then they can select, like, hey, I'm going to drive on Tuesday. I'm going to drive at 7. And then they fill this out and hit schedule event. And once they've done that, it sends me an email that tells me that they've scheduled it. And it also pops onto my calendar. And I have a calendar, a Google Calendar that it goes to, but you also have on Calendly this scheduled events that shows you what you have upcoming as well. And this is synced to my Google Calendar and my Apple Calendar. So like, I know what I'm doing. A half hour before every one of these, you'll get a calendar notification that, hey, at 1 o'clock, you're going to be driving with Sarah Stegan and Hallie Wright. If, by the way, if someone scheduled something and you need to cancel, you can hit cancel. That would get rid of both, but let's say you just need to get rid of Hallie. You go down here and hit reschedule or remove. And the kids can do that as well. And that can be tricky, but they have the same, they have to cancel within 18 hours if they're using Calendly. And if they do, you get a message. I'll be honest though, I get very, very few kids that cancel. And I get almost no no-shows with this. It's been extremely successful. Okay, today, this kid told me that he could not drive on Saturday. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to remove the invitee. And then you can write a message here. I don't need to because he and I already talked. And now Abe is off my calendar for Saturday. All right, that's about it. Hopefully that's helpful. Just once again, you need to make the event type, and then you need to have your availability, and then make sure your event type is on your availability, and you should be good to go. Hopefully that was helpful.